There was something almost otherworldly about those winter mornings when the frost seemed to settle on every rooftop, gatepost, and garden wall as if the entire street had been dusted with quiet magic. You stepped outside, and the world felt still, as though 1970s Britain was taking a slow breath before the day began. Pavements glittered under the first hint of daylight, and every exhale hung in the air like a small cloud. Children wrapped in scarves crunched their way toward school, sharing quiet excitement. And if you grew up in 70s Britain, you'll remember just how surprising those mornings felt, leading into everything that followed. Winters in 1970s Britain carried a particular kind of cold, the sort that seemed to seep gently into every part of daily life. It wasn't harsh or dramatic. It was simply ever-present. Bedrooms often felt chilly the moment you woke, long before any warm air reached the landing, and pulling on school clothes meant bracing yourself for that first touch of the morning air. Back then, layers were simpler too. Woolen jumpers, knitted scarves, and thick socks doing their best against the elements without the insulated fabrics we now take for granted. Stepping outside was its own small ritual. Families didn't rush into warm cars or wait for quick lifts. Walking to school was just what you did, following familiar routes alongside neighbors who moved at a gentler pace. The roads were quieter, the mornings slower, and the frost seemed to settle more deeply because life itself felt less hurried. Today, central heating hums softly before we even open our eyes, and winter coats are engineered with remarkable comfort. But here's something most people forget about those mornings. The cold didn't just shape the weather. It shaped the rhythm of childhood itself, opening the door to the memories that followed. Opening the front door on a frosty 1970s morning felt like stepping into another world. The garden, the pavement, even the neighbor's gate seemed dipped in shimmering white, catching the early light in a way that made everything look almost untouched. The first breath always felt sharp, rising gently in the air before fading away, a small reminder of how crisp the day would be. Woolly gloves were pulled on quickly, scarves wrapped tight, yet it always took a few minutes before your hands truly woke up. That first moment outside didn't just wake you physically, it stirred a quiet excitement for the journey ahead. The walk itself soon became its own familiar rhythm, a route repeated so often that every detail felt like a quiet companion. Hedges along the way sparkled with tiny ice crystals, each one catching the pale light like delicate glass. Frozen puddles waited at the end of every driveway, irresistible to any child brave enough to test their crunchy surface. Footsteps echoed softly in the stillness, a sound made louder by the calm of early winter mornings. Cars were rare at that hour, but every so often you'd hear an engine slowly warm, creating a hum that felt almost comforting. There was one sound you only heard on winter mornings, a kind of gentle crackle when frost shifted beneath your feet, reminding you that the season had its own secret language. What often made the cold easier to bear were the familiar faces that appeared along the route. Friends emerged from side streets or front gates, scarves pulled up, and cheeks glowing from the chill. There was always a quick exchange of greetings, a shared laugh about how cold it felt, or a playful display of breath clouds drifting into the air. Sometimes someone would start a small race to the corner, boots slipping slightly on the frosty pavement, turning the commute into a little adventure. These tiny moments created a sense of togetherness, a feeling that the journey was something shared rather than endured alone. In a world without rushing cars or hurried schedules, those simple interactions shaped the gentle rhythm of childhood mornings. Approaching the school brought its own kind of relief, the building standing quietly against the pale morning sky, while a soft warmth seemed to radiate from its windows. The final stretch always felt quicker, as if the promise of comfort made each step lighter. By the time you reached the entrance, gloves were rubbed together eagerly and scarves loosened slightly, ready to exchange the crisp air for the gentle heat inside. Coats were shaken free of frost, hands held close to warm radiators, and familiar chatter filled the corridors. It was a simple routine, yet it carried a feeling of arrival, of leaving the stillness outside and stepping into a place buzzing with energy. Today, commutes may be easier, but that gradual shift from cold quiet to lively warmth is something many still remember fondly, and that feeling endures today. What makes these frosty walks linger so vividly in our memories isn't just the cold itself, but everything those mornings quietly represented. They were shared experiences woven into the fabric of childhood moments, when the world felt gentle and still, allowing us to notice beauty in the simplest things, the sparkle of frost, the hush of early light, the soft rhythm of our footsteps. Walking to school gave us a feeling of independence that built resilience long before we recognized it. Each journey taught small lessons in routine, perseverance, and friendship, shaped not by grand events, but by everyday moments repeated through the winters of our youth. And the slower pace of 1970s life meant we had time to feel it all, even without realizing it. Back then, we didn't realize these were the mornings we'd one day miss, or how deeply they would settle into the heart, ready to lead into the reflections that follow. Today's mornings move quickly, warmed by central heating and shaped by busy routines. Yet something was lost when those slow winter walks faded into memory. Modern comfort is welcome, but it can't quite replace the quiet charm of frosty pavements, glowing breath, and the gentle independence of walking to school with friends. Those moments stayed with us, not because of the cold, but because of how they made childhood feel. What's the one thing you remember most about walking to school on cold winter mornings? Before you go, if these memories made you smile today, then hit the white subscribe button and stay with us. We're rebuilding a little corner on YouTube where the old Britain still lives, and you re-welcome here anytime. For more of these unbelievable memories, tap the video on your screen. The 1970s stories are something else. Don't forget to subscribe.